Okay, this is our last step, step 6. Again, possibly broken into 2 parts so that you can stop it, and I'll give you a word when to, and then carry on. So for this last one, we need to place some holes around the outside because to put our cover on it. I'm pretty sure by now you've seen the example, so you know what's going on there. So what we're going to do is a sketch, and we're going to click on that face, which is where we want the holes to be. And remember, we'll see that, it's on that face. We'll right click, view normal onto plane. Now, we're not just going to put circles in here. We're going to put points. There's a reason I'm doing this, and I'll explain that a little later. So if we click on the point tool, it'll place a little marker point for us. We want it to be in line with the center. We get our nice dotted line that's coming up, and we'll select just there, okay? Somewhere in the vicinity between the outside face. Yeah. So we need a measurement, though. It's referred to as our PCD, which will be between that point and the very center. When we drag off to the side, it'll ask us what do we want it to be, and I will say 33 millimeters. That's it. 33 millimeters. Next step is we want 3 holes evenly spaced around the outside. And the way we're going to do that is there's an array tool. This is a linear pattern, but if we do the little drop down, we can do a circular pattern, and then we click on what it is that we want to do a circular pattern of, which is that little point that we've made. It'll default to 3 times, so we don't need to change that, but possibly for another purpose, you might want more than that or less, but we only want the 3, 1, there, 2, and 3. So if you can see how it's indicating click the left mouse button key. So we go ahead and select, and it'll put 3 points evenly spaced around that perimeter, let's say. Now that's where I would say stop and go ahead and get those in, and then we will tick the box. So I'm going to assume you've stopped and you've got those in and everything's worked out. We tick the box. Now we're left with these 3 points. That's not going to do much for us because they're just like a decimal point, let's say, indicating a place. What I wanted to show you, which I think is a very handy tool to know and be aware of, is there's one called a hole tool, let's say. We can create different types of holes. So I am going to select it, and then this one, it defaults to a simple hole, which again, I'm going to say it's custom. We're not going to, there's different types of holes here you can do. We won't get into too much of it. So we'll go custom, and it is going to be, first it wants to say, what is the diameter of the hole? That's the indicates here. 2.5 is what I've got here already. I don't know what it defaults to, but because I've already done this, 2.5 is what you want. And how deep do we want it? Well, we want it to be 4 mil deep. Not sure what yours is defaulted to. 118 degrees, you can leave that. That's fine too. Now, what I did want to point out, though, this is a simple hole, but we can go counter bore or counter sink, just so you see what they look like. A counter bore hole, if I select that one, just for sake, it's telling me that the counter bore is too deep, so I'll change it to 2 mil and just press enter. 10 mils very wide. I might say, I don't know, 4 go. Okay, 4. And superimposed everything else. And when we zoom in, you'll see it's counterbored, as in like a larger hole, flat surface, and then the smaller hole. So that's considered a counterbore. Fits well with sort of cap screws, etc. So that could come in handy. Another job. Counterbore, or there is a countersink. Now, when I say countersink, I didn't like the 4 mil, 90 degrees. I like the 10 mil. Maybe if we went, I don't know, 5, get into there. Does that help? Yes. Everything sits out. So this, you can see, is a countersink, which is more of an angled shape. And that's for countersink screws, they're called. So therefore, the screw can fit nice down and the top of the screw would be flush. Either way, we don't need any of them, but I wanted to point that out to you while we were here. That's why we went through this process, possibly in another design that will work in your favor, rather than just a simple hole. Okay, so with that, we'll go back to simple 2.5 diameter, 4 millimeters deep. I've only at this point selected one of those points, but I'm going to select all three. So we have a hole in all three. I'll tick the box at that. And there we have it. All right. That's great. You could stop and go ahead and do that because the very last section is a few fillets. So we're just going to go fillet to take away not that edge, because that edge we have a transparent bit of acrylic going on. So a nice sharp edge on there is fine, but we don't want these to be sharp. 1 mil, I think, should be nice. And same with this little keyring thing. Can we get away with 1 mil on that? Both sides. Yeah, looks like we can. And what can we do for the hole? Yeah, and the hole as well. Top end. Yeah, 1 mil sorts out. Sometimes it might go red because the 1 millimeter was too much for the fillet, but it looks like that's going to work out well for us. And so we'll tick the box. We've got a nice fillet around the hole, around there, and around the back side of that. And there you have it. You're done. Okay, I'll stop it there.